And the Oscar for Best Picture is presented to...
And the Oscar goes 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 to...
And the Oscar goes...
And the Oscar goes...
And the Oscar goes to... The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King...
Crash, Annie Hall,
The Departed,
Rocky, Unforgiven, The French Connection,
Argo,
Titanic,
Spotlight,
A Mangrove Season,
All the King's Men,
All About Eve,
Around the World, 80 Days,
The King's Speech,
Schindler's List,
12 Years a Slave, A Beautiful Mind,
and the Oscar goes to...
The Oscars, also known as the Academy Awards. They happen every year, whether we care about them or not. And if you didn't know, they're an awards ceremony, handing out the best, most prestigious awards in the film industry to the best actors, directors, crew, and so on and so forth for that particular year. But how does it work? Who votes? Is it a simple process at all? Well, you're about to find out because I'm Grant Burton, and this is Film Ed. Before I go through how the Oscars works, how the awards are given out, and how a winner is selected, it's somewhat important to have some backstory, some history, let's say. So, here's all of that. Formed in 1927, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is a professional honorary society. It's an organisation dedicated to promoting excellence in a particular field. And, just like other organisations, it has many members associated with or connected to that field. In this case, the field we're talking about is filmmaking. So, people good at filmmaking were rewarded for it. How? Well, was it a pat on the back or a job well done? No, they were given a tiny little statue, as well as lots of love and attention and their own time in the spotlight to say whatever they want and thank whoever they want, so long as the music didn't cut them off beforehand. That statue though, so pretty, so shiny, so prestigious, yet very cheap. The statue depicts a Crusader knight grasping a sword atop a film reel with 5 spokes representing the 5 original branches of the Academy: directors, actors, writers, producers, and technicians. MGM art director Cedric Gibbons and sculptor George Stanley created the statue in 1928. Back then it was referred to as the Academy Award of Merit. The name Oscar didn't come about until the 1930s. Once constructed, each statue was worth a whopping $1. Yeah, way to show a person a job well done. Of course, the statue is just part of the prize. It's the prestige that comes with it that's the real value. After all, every studio wants the biggest, best actors in their films. That means an Oscar win could potentially lead to millions of dollars in the long run, for the winner and those lucky enough to be associated with them. Is that it though? Do they just get a statue and the chance to make millions later in life? No, of course not. They get a goodie bag too. It might sound cheap and silly, but the contents of that goodie bag are often worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, with some of the biggest brands and names associated with them. The products inside, they're something special and unique. In 2021, the goodie bag contents were provided by Distinctive Assets, a private market placement and celebrity marketing company not associated with the Academy. Each nominee or loser in the Best Actor, Supporting Actor and Best Director category gets one of these goodie bags. It's a consolation prize, and everybody wins goodie bags, sometimes it's called. And, well, that's pretty nice, isn't it? According to Forbes, the 2021 bag's contents amounted to approximately £205,000. Wow, that's really nice. Some of the freebies included celebrity trainer workout sessions, a liposuction procedure, 3 nights on a Swedish island, and a card for a commemorative gold NFT in memory of the late Chadwick Boseman. Up until 2006, the Academy was involved in choosing the gifts. Now, major brands do it because being associated with a big name celebrity is good for business. There's a whole history of Oscar goodie bag stuff out there, but that's a different topic entirely. So look it up yourself if you're really interested. Back on topic though, the name, Oscar. That's cute, but seems a little random, doesn't it? Well, guess what? Nobody really knows where it came from. There are ideas and stories and rumours about it, but nothing really that definitive. The Academy wants everyone to believe this version though. In the early 1930s, Academy librarian Margaret Herrick claimed that the statue looked like her uncle Oscar. Well, what a riveting story, and it somehow caught on. The staff of the Academy were the first to latch on to the name Oscar, but it didn't really go mainstream to the public until 1934 when Sidney Skolsky mentioned the nickname in a column on Katharine Hepburn's first Best Actress win. It was then adopted officially by the Academy in 1939. One last little thing before we get to the ins and outs of things. Back in these days, the winners of the very prestigious, very cheap statue were actually announced the night before the ceremony. This allowed the press and newspapers a chance to have the winners' names listed in their next publications. The problem was that over time, the publications started to release a little too early, which meant that by 1940, ceremony guests could find out the winners before going to the actual ceremony. And that kind of ruins things. To prevent this, and to build some sort of suspense, the Academy began keeping the results in sealed envelopes. So today, in 2022, everyone finds out the winner at the exact same time. The Academy. I've mentioned them a few times already because they're very important. I've told you roughly who they are and what they do, but is that all there is to know about them? No. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is currently located in Los Angeles, California, and as of 2021, there are 9,362 members in the Academy. The Academy is probably best known for the yearly Academy Awards ceremony, but that's only one day a year, so what else do they do? Well, they're also involved in film preservation and the development of new film technology, among many other things. Members of the Academy are split into 17 branches, each dedicated to a separate art or role in filmmaking. Here are those branches: actors, cinematographers, costume designers, directors, documentary editors, makeup artists and hairstylists, music, producers, production design, short films, feature animation, sound, visual effects, writers. Each of these branches has at least one dedicated Oscar/Academy Award category. You may have noticed that I said there were 17 branches, but the maths geniuses amongst you might have counted only 14. Well, the remaining 3 are casting directors, executives, and marketing/public relations. These are separate from the others because there aren't any Academy Award Oscar nomination categories for them. That's the Academy as it is right now, but how does somebody join the Academy? Simple. You must be active in the industry with feature film credits to your name, or you must have achieved a level of distinction in the field. Additionally, to apply, you must have representation of at least 2 current members of the Academy from your specific branch. Notably, each branch of the Academy has their own standards and eligibility for potential members, meaning it could be easy to get into one branch and nightmarishly hard for another. If you happen to be an Oscar winner or a nominee, then no representation or membership is required. They're automatically considered for it. It seems a bit unfair, but that's just how it goes. And that's kind of it for a lot of the Academy, as you'll find out. The people who judge this are the executive committee of the branches. So, the actors branch has an executive committee, and the costume designers have a separate executive committee, and so on and so forth for each branch. Once you have their approval, it's then submitted to the Academy Board of Governors for final consideration. Additionally, The Academy Board of Governors, the people running the Academy, consider membership once a year. This board consists of 3 members elected from each branch of the Academy, plus 3 governors at large who were appointed. Here's some stats and historical trivia for you, because we all love that. In 2015 and 16, there were 6,000 members in the Academy. 93% were white and 76% were men, and the median age was 63. That's hardly a diverse group, is it? Naturally, this garnered some controversy and changes were made. The Academy announced that they would double the number of women and minority members by 2020, increasing the diversity in the Academy. In 2021, 1/3 of the Academy was female, and 19% were from a minority group, with more than 2,100 members from countries other than America. It's an improvement, I guess. Now let's talk all about the awards themselves, and naturally that starts at the beginning, with the nomination process. The Academy has strict rules and limitations on who can and cannot vote at the Academy Awards. Until 2016, members of the Academy could vote for the entirety of their lives. Now though, voting privilege is limited to just 10 years, but it can be renewed so long as the person is still active in the industry. This happened because it turned out that many of the 6,000 voters at the time, previously mentioned, were really old white men who were basically sitting around not making films anymore. And nobody really cared what their dated opinions on films were. Lifetime voting is, however, still a possibility, after 3 10-year terms in the Academy. If a member is no longer active in the industry, then they transition to being emeritus members, and their right to vote is revoked. So, there are 17 branches. Remember that? Good. Members of each branch vote on their own specialist area. For example, visual effects artists only vote for visual effects artists. As you may or may not expect, the biggest of the voting groups is that of the actors. Meanwhile, special committees are formed to vote on awards of a more niche or specialty area, such as Best Foreign Language Film, Documentary, and Best Animated Feature. These committees, also known as screening groups, are made up of Academy members from each branch. The foreign film category is assembled from a list of films submitted by foreign nations, and each foreign nation can only select 1 film for consideration per year. So it's important that they get it right. And, a subject we'll get to soon, every member of the Academy, regardless of their branch, can vote for the Best Picture. That's how films get nominated. As for the winners, all voting members choose those, based on the nominees, of course. There are currently 24 Oscar categories, and in all but one of these categories, the winner is the one which garners the most votes. Sounds simple, sounds fair, sounds smart. Here's a little reminder of the current Academy Award categories, just in case you forgot, or in case you just never knew. Actor in a leading role. Actor in a supporting role. Actress in a leading role. Actress in a supporting role. Animated feature film. Best Picture. Cinematography. Costume design. Directing. Documentary short subject. Documentary feature. Film editing. Foreign language film. Makeup and hairstyling. Music original score. Music original song. Production design. Short film animated. Short film live action. Sound editing. Sound mixing. Visual effects. Writing adapted screenplay. Writing original screenplay. But worthy of note is that there are 4 requirements a film must meet for it to qualify for nomination. It's not just every film made that year that's capable of being nominated. No, it couldn't be as simple as that. A film must at least be 40 minutes long, and its public premiere must have been in a movie theatre during the appropriate calendar year, obviously. That's why streaming services like Netflix release their films in a few cinemas here and there prior to them arriving on their service, because if they don't, they can't be nominated. That film must also have premiered in 35mm or 70mm film format, or in a 24-frame progressive scan digital format. And finally, the film must have played in an LA County theatre for paid admission for 7 consecutive days during that appropriate calendar year. They're a fussy bunch, aren't they? When it comes to the acting categories, there are 4 distinct categories: leading performance actor, supporting performance actor, supporting performance actress, and leading performance actress. It's up to the voters in the Academy to decide whether an actor should be considered for a leading role or a supporting role. No actor can be nominated for both of those categories for the same performance. So the Academy assigns the nominee to the category that the actor qualifies for first. The whole voting process takes a few weeks, and the voters typically have a couple of weeks to submit their nominees. Once all the ballots are in, the accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, known as PwC, counts the ballots in secret, and then the Academy reveals who has been nominated. At this point, all Academy members can vote for who they want to win, so long as they do so within 2 weeks. PwC then counts the results again, seals them in envelopes, and holds on to those precious envelopes until the ceremony itself. They've done this for about 80 years now. However, there was a tinsy-wincy little bit of an incident back in 2017.
And the Academy Award for Best Picture.
You're impossible. Come on. La La Land.
Thank you all. Thank you to the Academy, thank you to Lionsgate, thank you to our incredible cast and crew. We're all up here right now. Thank you to Jamie Feldman, to Gary Gilbert. Thank you to my parents for supporting. We lost, by the way, but you know.
Guys, I'm sorry.
No, there's a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture.
Moonlight won. Come on, this is not a joke. This is not a joke. I'm afraid they read the wrong thing.
This is not a joke. Moonlight has won Best Picture. Moonlight, Best Picture.
Yeah, the wrong envelope was handed out to the presenters, and as such, the wrong winner was announced. This caused a whole fracas, a bit of a ruckus, and a bunch of problems and issues, so the Academy Board of Governors held a meeting to discuss their future with PwC, and they decided just to carry on business as usual. Although I'm sure somebody, somewhere down the line, probably got fired for it. Winning an Academy Award can be a career-altering event. It's a pretty big deal. And not just about a cheap statue, remember. So certain studios and producers and distributors go out of their way to make sure everyone knows about their films, their stars, and so on. It might not seem fair or in good nature of it all, but Oscar campaigns are a very real thing. If a producer or distributor wants their film to be eligible for nomination, they must submit what is known as an official screen credits form. The form lists the production credits for all the eligible Oscar nomination categories. The Academy then collects these forms and lists these films in the reminder list of eligible releases. This list is then sent to all Academy members alongside a nomination ballot sometime in January, so they know what films are eligible for that particular year. Knowing how important and big an Oscar win or nomination can be, the studios that make the films really want to make sure that the voters have seen the films. For the average person or critic, this might seem obvious and simple, but remember, the voters are mostly old white men who have jobs and families outside of the Academy, so they don't always have time or patience to see every single film. That's where a campaign becomes pretty useful. An Oscar nomination can open doors. It can get actors and crew members noticed and boost their salary and work. It's a good thing for them. A Best Picture win can increase the license fee for TV, streaming and other formats, so campaigns allow studios to win the favour of voters and other top talents. For example, in 2019, Netflix had 5 or 6 films that were contenders at the Oscars in top categories. So they spent a lot more money than a smaller firm would, focusing on one film and that campaign. These campaigns can cost anywhere from a few $1,000s to double or triple digit millions of dollars. Although the studios are of course very secretive about just how much they do cost. TV advertising and travel for the stars are usually the most expensive elements. After all, a star can be flown from one state or country then to multiple other states and countries multiple times a week, conducting interviews, doing public events and so on, just to make sure everyone knows who they are and what film they just did. Studios also rent screening rooms to show their films, they send out DVDs to voters, throw parties in honour of the nominees, they rent out billboards, post ads in newspapers and on websites and more. There's a ton of things that these campaigns do. It's a very expensive business and hopefully it all ends with an Oscar win and an influx of cash in the future. A studio head once told Variety, "I can spend money to make sure voters see my film, but I can't make them love the film. That's up to them." This does suggest that money isn't everything, at least not for all people. A studio can't simply spend a load of cash and get an Oscar. It's not as easy as that. The Variety interview also stated that the losers can always say the winner got the award because they outspent us. And nobody wants to publicly admit that. Maybe voters like their movie better than mine. Money and ego. It really does fuel Hollywood at times. How far does it go? Is this all fair and legal? Yeah, it is. The Academy fully condones these campaigns in fact, and the studios attempt to get the voters to see their films. They do restrict production companies from mailing inappropriate incentives such as bribes or holidays in Barbados or wherever else, because you know, that is a bit sketchy. Just to demonstrate two very opposing campaigns and the results they garnered, back in 2018, Rami Malek was going to parties, trailers for his film were playing all over the place pretty much. He attended Q&A sessions, celebrity meet and greets, celebrity parties, award shows, chat shows and more. He then went on and won the Oscar. Arguably, he earned it through his acting, you would like to think so. But an argument could be made that people just liked the guy and a lot of money was spent to earn their appreciation and as such, their vote. On the other hand though, Olivia Coleman won an Academy Award with little to no campaign. She was busy working, primarily based in the UK. She didn't travel a huge deal, she didn't do all these publicity events, and scarcely made any public appearances. But she also won the Oscar. So there isn't really a winning formula for a successful campaign. Or maybe people just loved Olivia Coleman way more than Rami Malek. Who knows? Then you also must consider other award ceremonies and the potential influence or pressure coming from their nominees and choices. Sometimes there are similarities. Sometimes an actor can win big at one ceremony and then not even be nominated at another. There's little actual rhyme or reason for this though. The final thing about campaigns and voting is that it's ultimately based on personal taste. And while we always find out the nominees and the winners, we never find out how much they won by. Who came in second, who came in last or whatever else. That's all a very big secret. And probably for the best. I wouldn't want to know if I came in last place out of the best bunch. But at the same time, it is good just to be nominated. Isn't it? But I've saved the best, most interesting and divisive point to last. The Best Picture category. This must be talked about separately for reasons I'll get into soon. It's handled very differently from every other award out there. Starting in 2009, 10 films can be up for the Best Picture award, although not every year has 10 up for contention. This change was made to allow more hit movies to get the recognition after a slew of years where prestige indie films were getting all the attention. Remember when The Dark Knight, arguably one of the best films ever made, perhaps even a perfect film in many ways, never got nominated for Best Picture? Yeah, this change was meant to fix problems like that. The change was disputed by some who claimed it would dilute the prestige of the nominations if there were 10. So they made it more flexible, allowing a minimum of 5 contenders and a max of 10. We don't know exactly who chooses this number or how that choice is made though, which is a really interesting point. The Academy did try to address this in 2018 with a Popular Film Award category, but that really didn't go down well, so it never happened. Anyway, the big details here are in how the winner is selected. The winner of Best Picture is not the one that gets the most votes. Instead, a preferential voting system is utilised, where the voters essentially rank their favourite films of that particular year. If from these rankings one film gets more than 50% of the votes, it immediately wins. If that doesn't happen, then the vote continues in a series of rounds. Here's how it goes. If in the first round no film has above 50% of the vote, then more rounds of voting need to take place. The film with the lowest amount of first place votes is eliminated. The votes for that film that is being eliminated are then transferred to the voter's second place choice. This continues for as many rounds as needed until one film has more than 50% of the votes. It sounds weird and it's somewhat complicated at times, but Rick Robertson, the Academy's Chief Operating Officer in 2009, explained to the Los Angeles Times that the idea of the preferential ballot is to reflect the wishes of the greatest number of voters. Otherwise, you might end up with a movie that, say, 25% of people love and the rest can't stand. This way, hopefully, you have a winner that most people can live with. So, if this still seems a little complicated, in short, the voters rank their films. If a film is ranked number 1 by 50% or more of the voters, then it wins. If not, they remove the bottom ranked film and tally the votes again. However, just to complicate it more, there can be a twist. If one film gets most of the votes placing it in first place, but not 50% or more votes, then you would expect another round of voting based on the rules I've just outlined. But that's not necessarily so, because if another film gets an overwhelming number of votes, placing it at, say, second best film of the year, that film could potentially win the Oscar if the amount of votes is above 50%. So, in other words, the winner of the Oscar for Best Picture isn't necessarily the film everyone thought was the best film of the year. It could just be one of the voters' favourite films of the year that most voters agreed with. A film could be on every voter's list in 10th place, and because every voter put it in 10th place, it could win because of a consensus agreement. In short, it's not the numbers that matter, it's the consensus. If the voters all agree on something, that's what wins. Gotta love agreement, it rarely happens after all. And that's the Academy Awards, aka the Oscars, in a nutshell. There's a lot to digest, I'll admit. It isn't all glitz and glamour, there's a lot of maths and numbers work, there's a lot of favouritism and opinionated stuff in there. Just remember that at the end of the day, a specific group of people with a limited range of backgrounds and diversity choose what's nominated and what wins. It's just their opinion, and if your opinion differs, great! The results mean more to the people involved and the industry, and less to us, the viewers. I've been Grant Burton. As always, that's Film Ed. I hope you've liked it, and thanks for watching.